fuck. Watching that sultry little temptress squeeze into a Canadian tuxedo, 3 sizes too small, with her bouncy little fun bags on the screen staring at you, piercing through the core of your soul with those ocean blue eyes.
A journalist tweeted this. I don't know if you have media literacy. For me, it's so clearly AI. We are so, AI gets even better. We are so cooked. I'm so scared of that moment. Now, AOC responding to this said to Chris Cuomo, "This is a deep fake, dude. Please use your critical thinking skills. At this point, you're just reposting Facebook memes and calling it journalism. Good for her." Now, Zohran Mamdani, who is most likely going to be the mayor of New York City, he's 33 years old, progressive, has some interesting ideas about how to change and help the city. Here's what he had to say about Andrew Cuomo becoming basically aligned with Donald Trump.
I would be remiss if I did not directly address some of the news that we saw come out just a few hours ago, which is that the president of this country, Donald Trump, has been coordinating with Andrew Cuomo in direct conversation with the former governor. It is Trump billionaires who have been opposing our campaign's vision for a city that New Yorkers can afford. It is Donald Trump himself who has been directly conspiring with candidates who have decided to give up the people that they are supposed to protect in lieu of securing power through the assistance.
Yeah, that's it. So, but, guys, nothing's changed. Right out here, there is basically that pickup truck, and that pickup truck, that is the county version of ICE. And this morning, I saw the trucks there at a favorite breakfast spot in town, and I had to run errands, and when I drove to this place, it was still at the favorite breakfast spot. So got here, got my lunch, I'm just sitting here talking to you, and then they showed up about 30 minutes ago, so they came straight from breakfast to have lunch here, right? And that's all on the taxpayer's nickel. And you should see how fat these guys are. Anyway, it's an interesting time we live in. Maddows of MSNBC, she basically did she's very good. She's quite the scholarly person. She's really good at digging up the information, then putting it into historical context and showing what's going on now to what happened before. She's very good at that. But she's still, a mouthpiece for the corporate shill, right? So, that's what MSNBC, that's what NBC is, that's what CBS. Stephen Colbert getting fired. That was just Paramount's cheap way of bending the knee so they can get their multi-billion, almost $500 billion. They want to have they want to become the biggest media player on the block. And so they're buying up everything they can. And, the government could step in the way of that. So, they let themselves be, CBS be sued by Donald Trump personally. He said, "I wasn't fair, they edited, what's your name's thing." Well, I did radio and TV, and you edit the show, Someone coughs or sneezes or vomits on the floor, you don't have that as part of the interview, you kind of cut that out. Basically, what's her name was having a bad day that day, meaning she was, not feeling too good from her, springtime or whatever time, fall time, allergies, right? You could see that. Her eyes were all watery up. She was blowing her nose. And so she probably got into a coughing jacket. Yeah, so they cut stuff out. And also, you only have so much time to play a piece. So you take all the extraneous stuff out. So Donnie sued them, and they could have like won that case, no problem. But they gave him $16 million because it was cheaper for Paramount, the parent company of CBS, to give Donnie $16 million instead of going to court all the way up to Supreme Court, costing hundreds of millions of dollars. That was just it. And to get rid of Stephen Colbert, who's the most popular nighttime guy, was cherry on top. Well, to not bring him back for another season, there's a parachute clause, and I'm sure in this contract. So he got $25 million in cash, not to get too upset about not coming back. But he has still, a whole 9-10 months of doing that show. So he is going at it tooth and nail, and other platforms want him to go back to the Colbert Report, right? So that would be fun. So you have to realize that all of this stuff is scripted, right? We get to see all this stuff in front of us, saying, see, we got a democracy. And the more that Stephen makes fun of Donnie and the crew, they are just, Donnie is just the game show host, and all the players in the political scene are just contestants. And Johnny, who's the next contestant? Oh, that's the drunk who's in charge of our Defense Department that we're basically destroying, right? And we can't have anything woke in this Defense Department. So they're getting rid of a lot of the people. My dad was a bird colonel in the Air Force, right? And when I came around, I was the youngest, the last one. So by the time I was 5, 6 years old, and my dad would say, anybody want to go to, I'm going to go to Wright-Patterson, or I'm going to go to, this air base or that air base. I'd say, sure, because I would go with him. He would stick me with a captain or sergeant major. I remember being in a B-58. That's the 1950s supersonic bomber that carried one gigantic hydrogen bomb, right? And enough juice to light the candle and zip into Russia and drop the sucker, right? It went faster. Before the radar could capture them, they were almost on target, right? So I remember being with this sergeant major, and he put the uniform on me, the smallest one they had, and it was still 10 times too big. And he rolled up the sleeves and the leggings, and he put the helmet on me, and we got in there, and I was sitting in the right-hand side, and he could do anything with that airplane except take off, right? The wheels couldn't, go above the ground. So he got at the place where he was going to, you could take off, right? Gets up there, revs all the engines up, and, hits it, and lets go of the brakes, and we start rolling really fast. And he went across this orange line. And that's kind of when he, put the engines in reverse, hit the brakes, and he slid sideways, right to the edge of the, where the end of the runway was, right, about that much, And then you could hear in the headphones, Sergeant Major, you can't take off. You can't take Sergeant Major. And he didn't. But, that was his fun. And it was fun. So when my dad would take me around to these places, he could see what's going on. And I remember, so he was no longer in uniform. He was whatever they call it, he wasn't active. He was inactive, right? But he still was part of the game. And so he would go to meetings and do stuff like that when they were talking about, big stuff, And so he was a logistics guy, one of their best. And so, and that's why his business ran pretty good. And my oldest brother had that gene in him. So he kind of ran the business in logistics-wise. And my dad was also a good salesman. And so that was another thing. And my youngest of my sisters, she picked up that gene. So she was really good. She was a top salesperson and could see products that could be really valuable. And so she would develop those. And anyway, So I saw my father in all of this, and being the youngest, I wasn't part of any of the feral weasel family goings on because I was brought up until I was about 7 at my grandma's house, right? And so and that was a great house. You know, my grandma, my grandpa, they're both, you know, great folk. They weren't just the stereotype cartoon characters. They really were quite amazing people. And I got all of their love, right? Yeah, there was nobody else there except me. And early on, when I was a baby, you know, our next door neighbor, Mamo, you know, or upstairs neighbor, you know, she breastfeeded me for like 2 years. So that's why I'm an African American that's melanin challenged. So all of this, right? That's, you know, experience. So, you know, Jim Crow was going on and all kinds of stuff. But it was real. You could understand it. You could navigate it. Now what's going on with Donnie, because he's not running anything, you know, that bald guy who looks like something out of the Addams Family is running. Michael, whatever his name, or Stephen, whatever his name is. You know, the guy who lost his wife to Elon Musk, you know, Neon Husk. Let's see. Longest eyebrows I've ever seen in a while. Yeah, these things, yeah. This kind of came because when I was in first grade, a Nazi nun murdered me. She grabbed me by the throat and crushed my esophagus, and then she crushed my orbit in this eye and broke the little stirrup in this ear. So I was basically deaf, dumb, and blind. And it took a long while to rejigger all of that. And out of it came a very interesting thing. Is that this eye now was like turned sideways and squished. So it sees different frequencies of energy, right? So I can see auras and things of that matter, right? And this ear.
I hope not.
So did you have a good lunch, guys?
Yes, sir.
Real good lunch.
So what'd you have? Did you have chicken and rice or
I have pepper steak.
you know what I always have?
No, I had cashew today.
Is their soup and their fried with the cream cheese inside.
Wonton?
Yeah, they are good. And their tea. So that's I'm one of those guys who has you know, I have the same thing. You know, I've tried everything, but that's my favorite.
I gotta have something.
Did they set the little white bowl on your table? Or
Yeah. And you know what I'm talking about. So what's the most interesting thing you guys are working on now? Not much? And it's, yeah, right, that's what I was going to say. If there's not much there, that's a good thing. Well, boys, you stay safe now. God bless you. And that's what you do. I know all those guys. Do. Nope, he didn't walk in the back of my car and look at my license plate. But he's got cameras all over that thing. So people don't realize that we already live in an authoritarian oligarchy, right? And those guys are the guys, you know. I was being nice not to put them on the show, but anyway. But you can tell. I mean, they're white. All of their vehicles are white, and they have, you know, the back of the pickup truck with a hard cover. So whatever guns and stuff they got is you know, covered. Anyway, well, what are you guys saying here? So anyway, the that I got from the nun, I know it did something to my eyebrows, and the thing is, if I trim them, they get longer. So I stopped. You know, I stopped trimming. The only time I really start to trim myself up is if I get an affair to, like last season, I had an affair to remember. And, so I trimmed up around my mouth. Because when she goes, it's trying to kiss a forest, So, anyway. But we are really in very interesting times. Now, it's not like we haven't been here before. We had a civil war. And we lost more American citizens in the Civil War than any other war. In World War II, we lost millions of people. So, this country is being rejiggering, and it's happening so quickly, so it's obvious to me. No one else is talking. Everyone says, "I guess this is going." I mean, people like Maddows and everybody else, and it's not that. What it is we shouldn't really be scared of Donnie and what comes after Donnie, right? And the real scary thing is our country usually does this seesaw thing. So that means, but our Democrats are being the most they got everything you could go after. That Chuck Schumer is unbelievable. Corey Good votes to give Israel another $20 billion of bombs, So, I mean, it's pretty obvious they all are, in the same club, as George Carlin would say. Go watch all HBO TV specials with George Carlin. He gives a great, like 30 years ago, he was telling us what was going on for today. So, anyway, let's see what he is saying. Bloom again, yep. Sartre, I like that.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you, Sister.
Oh, the sun's a heat.
Oh, yeah, it is,
I
isn't
tell
it?
you that. There was a little bit of a breeze. It's so pretty this morning. Wind was out earlier.
So there goes the girls. Anyway, but no one really wants to talk about what's going on. Oh, and thanks for the 7 thumbs up. You guys are sweet, right? And if you want to get a hold of me, the dudeawake42@gmail, dudeawake42@gmail. And let's see. Let's see. Oh, it's 1 o'clock.
Of that same administration in Washington, D.C. This should be a race about addressing the questions of who will make the city affordable, who will ensure that each and every New Yorker is safe, who will bring our city forward, not an audition for the best jester for Donald Trump and his billionaire supporters.
Good for him. Good for him. I love that. Now, Andrew Cuomo, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's doing online, but there's been these baby memes that are going around with politicians, and someone did it of Andrew Cuomo.
Donald Trump would go through Mr. Mondami like a hot knife through butter.
This pissed off a lot of Americans. Let me tell you why. Did you know that if you're an American and you're at least 50 years old, you could be eligible for this $25,000 funeral benefit coverage? It's true.
But you gotta die
first. To know about this, and it's the reason in the dark for so long. Many seniors regret not knowing about this because the benefits are insane. This $25,000 burial benefit your family save a significant amount when you pass and make you worry less financially, and it's super easy to get. All you need to do is click the link below, answer 2 simple questions.
Answer
boom,
2 separate questions.
Done. No one will call you. No one will text you. No one will email you because this is not a scam. But you have to hurry and act now.
Ew, this is so cringe.
Andrew Cuomo, who's not...
Well, okay, kids. Santa. Everyone thinks I'm not Santa. I am Santa's younger brother, Bob. I take care of the naughty and nice list. Anyway, I'm going to jump off for a second here. See if I can get things a little more organized. I'll be back in less than a half hour, okay? And if not, I'll be back around 3 o'clock. Because I'm right out in the sun. I mean, I got this metal tin can over me, and it's starting to heat up. I feel like a chocolate chip cookie in the easy bake oven.